Blue Jays conclude their first week of practice, although they do have Saturday morning practice tomorrow. Now with Blue Jay head coach Rafe Watkins. Coach, 10th year, week 1 of practice officially underway.
Yeah, and it's over with almost, except for tomorrow. Good to get in the pads finally today and see what kids are going to hit. You know, you always look good. We didn't miss one tackle or miss one block the first 3 days on air and in helmets. So, you know, it looked good and it makes you get relaxed for the first, but you know that it's not, things aren't as good as they always appear to be at that time. But today was really, for the first day of full pads, I was very pleased. Didn't have a lot of collisions. It was very guarded and stuff. Our Okie drill wasn't as spirited as sometimes is, but you know what, I know these kids will play, the ones that we're counting on, and they got out. And the younger ones, we got so many young ones, they haven't figured out yet what it is to be a Blue Jay. I don't think they'll go in the next 2 weeks. I think if you talk to me in 2 weeks before the Duncan game, you'll see that the kids have improved so much, and they'll have a couple of scrimmages under their belt, and the young pups will have one scrimmage under their belt and some more practice. So it's only going to get better. But for the first few days, I'm very pleased.
90 kids, that's a promising number.
It is. You know, our numbers for varsity usually run anywhere from 50 to 65, and that's right where we're at 49. So give or take 1 or 2 here and there. And then, but our freshman numbers are really good with 41, which this is a really good class. We knew that there's going to be a lot of numbers, and there'll be, you know, a couple of them will be seeing significant playing time on Fridays just out of they're that good. And then we got 4 or 5 others that, you know, is going to definitely give us some depth, and they're going to be suiting up for varsity games on Friday nights, more so than any time I've ever had.
Last year was every other question who's going to be your quarterback, and that's kind of gone away. There's some open competition this year.
Well, we got, you know, and it's so not so much competitions in there, but we got about 8 receivers right now that in any order we feel like we throw them in there, we're pretty good. You know, we got a couple that's a little above the rest of them, but the rest of them are all just right there together. We got 3 really good running backs, you know, and Luke and Derek and Alfonso. Alfonso's looked outstanding these first few days. He's really running well. His ankle looks good and healed from last year. It's still tender. Defensively, we got a linebacker spot that there's still some battling for, some defensive line. Probably this year right now that we are having to find is our defensive linemen. That's probably where the biggest battles are going on. A couple at the corner spots, but mostly it's our defensive line play right now that we're having our biggest battles at.
I got to tell you, it's kind of intriguing because when the offense breaks huddle, the offensive line looks like an offensive line. I don't know if I'm used to the small Guthrie offensive lines, but they look like good size to them.
Well, you know, we got 2 big tackles. That's 6'4", 6'5", 275 to 295 in that area, and then our guards, you know, it's Seaford. He's gained some weight. He's gotten off the quarterback regiment, and he said he loves buffets, so he's about 220, and then Malachi, he's around 220, and then of course Cooper's about 230 or so. So yeah, it's a little bit bigger line what we're accustomed to, but and they're a little ahead of where they've been. You know, we're still nowhere close to where we've got to be, but for our line, I know Coach Mick, this is by far the best we've been in at least 3 years.
Of course, Guthrie takes a lot of pride in special teams, work on it every day in practice. Got to replace the kicker. Everyone kind of forgets about the kicker and all that stuff, special teams.
And we have been very blessed the last 6 years to have kickers, you know, with J. Bo Hensley and then with Hank last year. Derek Kelly, I think, is going to be a very good job on as far as extra points and stuff. I worry a little bit about our kickoffs. His leg's not near as strong as the other 2 the last 6 years. We're going to figure out some stuff on kickoffs. But extra points we feel solid about, and I think up to about 30 yards we feel comfortable with him kicking, depending on the wind and stuff. You know, either going into it or with it, it might give it 5-10 yards either way. But I think he's going to be solid on extra points. And then Luke Davis, we're going to use him in punting, and he's been very solid these first few days in practice. And so we got a great athlete. If something were to break down back there, probably as good athlete as we've had in a long time back there at the punter. So overall, I think our kicking game, you know, it may be a little more ragged here at the first of the season than what it has been in the past, because again we've had so many 3-year starters right there with Hank and J-Bo, but we'll be okay there, and we've got great return kids still, so we feel like our special teams can do what it's done in the past and win some ball games for us.
It's been a little bit of a warm week, especially compared to the last 3 years. It's been nice in the morning time with the little breeze, but about 11:30 it starts to heat up, and I don't know if this is a secret, but it makes them a little bit tougher perhaps, maybe.
It does. You know, we go in, and I think the worst thing that happens is we ever break for that morning break in there for that 30-minute break, or 25 as it turns out to be, and 30 today. But then you come back out of that. But they've been fighting through it. Yesterday was extremely hot, and luckily we were all in helmets. If yesterday had been the first day of pads, we may have struggled. But today had a nice breeze, and I don't think anybody ever – we've only had one kid, and that was in the very first day, and I think that was more nerves than sick because it was a freshman, and I think everything was just going by him so fast. I think he got a little excited and got sick. But overall, I've been very pleased with the kids' conditioning, and it's been a little bit, well, not a little bit, a whole lot hotter than the last 2 years for sure, because we had rain about every day last year. So, but it looks like on the forecast that if we can get get through tomorrow's practice that Monday they're showing 88 and a chance of rain, and Tuesday 88 and a chance of rain. So that'll be a pleasant for us, and get ready for our first scrimmage next Friday. Freshman scrimmage on Thursday against Choctaw and Edmond Memorial over at Choctaw, and then the varsity scrimmages against Douglas and Tulsa Kelly at Douglas. Should be a great scrimmage.
Been getting a lot of attention. A couple of TV stations up here, a newspaper, a guy in a red shirt chasing you everywhere this week. The expectations have really come together. I mean, it's been there, but everyone's kind of following, kind of see how they do it. Not only media, but opposing teams and coaches.
It is, and it's an honor for our program and stuff. But like I tell them all the time, just like last year when we were sitting there at 0-2 and nobody was wanting to talk to us, nothing's ever as bad as it appears to be. And now that everybody's here, nothing is as good as it appears to be. So we've got a long way to go still. You know, we're a little ahead of where we were at last year, obviously, but we've still got a long way to go. And, you know, week 11, I'll still be telling you the same thing. We never reach our full potential even when week 14's over.
Your favorite day, picture days tomorrow?
Oh, picture day. You got to love it. Well, you just endure it and get through it, and that's why I'm glad it's over with tomorrow. And then we got meet and greet the Blue Jays tomorrow night, where we have our band and our cheerleaders and our softball and cross-country kids and football kids go down. And, you know, it's grown. This is, I think, our 4th year to do it, and you're still emceeing it, I suppose. And so, you know, we're going to go through all that, and it's a good time anymore. We really invite the people out and hope that they show up. Last year, I bet we had 1,000 people there. The home side was almost full. So it's grown in the community. They understand it. They come support the kids, have a hamburger with the Booster Club, and enjoy the night. Hopefully it won't be too hot.
Coach, appreciate it as always.
Thank you.
Head coach Rafe Watkins here on GuthrieSportsPage.com.